The whistle this week is the Feadóg Pro D. This one in the black painted version. Now the Feadóg Pro D is not only nickel plated, but it's double nickel plated. So it has a thicker, heavier barrel. It gives it, in my opinion, a superior tone. It also kind of makes it a little more forgiving in some regards for newer players. Now that doesn't necessarily mean that the headpiece is any better, because it's pretty much the same mouthpiece that comes on the other Feadóg models. However, if you get a good one and go ahead and fill this cavity under here, it ends up being a pretty nice whistle for not a whole lot. And again, that substantial feeling to the barrel, that tighter vibration, gives it a nice bright tone. It's fairly easy to play. I like the sound of it. I like that it has a little more volume than its bare brass brother, the standard Feadóg D. I also really like the all black look. I think that's pretty sweet. Not that that really matters at all, but it's nice. It has popped up on a couple of recordings that I've released. Because I like the tone, this is one that I will not let go of. As far as cons to the whistle, Feadóg, like everybody else, mass produces these injection molded mouthpieces, so they have the cavity under the windway that causes hiss if you don't fill it, and can also make the volume difference between the upper and lower octave a bit less manageable. So definitely fill it. Feadóg seems to have a little less quality control issues or less consistency problems than some of the other makers, but they still do, so there is that. And Feadóg whistles, as much as or more than any of the other standard manufactured whistles, come out of the factory a little sharp. So if you look, you can see that little collar around there where I've pulled the head back out when I retuned it. I don't bother to try to repaint these things or anything, but it was too sharp. Now it's good. It's within my tolerable limits of tuning. Is it a good whistle for a beginner? In my opinion, yes. Because aside from the basic cons that I've mentioned, the pros definitely outweigh. It's got this heavier body. I'm not entirely sure why, but it seems to be easier in terms of fingering more precisely, and then for newer players that grip it too tightly, it seems to be more forgiving for that kind of thing. I don't know if that's the extra nickel plating plus the paint. Not sure, but it plays really easily, really well, sounds really good, has a decent volume, and is probably more user-friendly to learn on than most of the other entry-level whistles that I've gotten my hands on. It also has a lower air requirement than a lot of manufactured whistles, with a nice amount of back pressure, which makes it easier to play at first, especially long passage tunes like Rights of Man, which often give me trouble. So it's definitely been a favorite of mine for some time. You'll still get some shriek or squeal if you're not breathing correctly or not fingering precisely enough. And it's not perfect, but it's really good. Especially really good for the 15 bucks I spent on this thing. I have to say that I recommend the Pro D about as highly as I do the Walton's Melody for a starter whistle. And in that sense, I recommend the two of those more highly than just about anything. The whistle of the week was the Feadóg Pro D. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you next week when we play something completely different.